If you're fat, out of shape, or don't exercise, and deep down you're sick of feeling low energy and behind guys your age, listen up, bro. I was once in your shoes, so here's why you should start running as a young man. My name is Pren. I'm 20 years old and I started running about 5 years ago. And the reason I started was I wasn't happy with myself. I started running in year 10, so that would have been 2019, 2020-ish time, and I just wasn't happy with myself in general. And I guess it stemmed from a lot of things, kind of the habits I was doing, the way I was living life. I rarely exercised before. Like the only times I would exercise is like in like the slotted times, like when you're back in school and you had those PE lessons. That's like the only real time I'd exercise other than playing football maybe like once or twice a week. But I was a goalkeeper, so I didn't really run around much. And I never really exercised like seriously. And the reason I wasn't happy with myself was because I didn't like the way I looked. I was very overweight, very chubby brown kid, wasn't very athletic by any means, not very fit, had no clue about diet, nutrition, the whole lot. You just had low self-esteem, you know what I mean? Like when you've lived a life of just like indulging in pleasures, not really exercising, always chasing those instant gratification things like playing video games. Like I used to love playing Fortnite and Warzone. Those are like the big two a couple of years ago now. I'd say they're really popping back in about 2020, 2019. Oh, and I love playing those games, and that was the kind of life I was living at the time. And I think I discovered running when I was in year 10, so I would have been 15 at the time. I'm 20 now. And how it came about was, so in 2020, the UK went into a lockdown in somewhere in between March 2020, somewhere in that month. The whole UK shut down because of you know what. And what happened was all the schools shut down, all like the public services, everything shut down, and I was kind of trapped at home. And I had all this time on my hands to I had no clue what the fuck to do with all this free time I had now, because I was so used to like having my routine of like going to school, coming back, jumping on the PlayStation and hopping on with the boys, and that routine like went completely out the window as soon as all the schools shut down and shit. And what happened was all of a sudden I had all this free time and I had no idea what to do with it. So I ended up indulging in loads of pleasures and doing loads of essentially wasting my time really. And I spent most of it gaming and doing loads of unproductive shit. But one thing that I actually started to learn about and take up upon was running. And I'd seen it kind of popularized in and around, I think I saw it on TikTok mainly, and people were doing this running program called the Character 5K, and I was like, oh shit, what's that about? So I watched a few videos on it, and then I learned it's a running program that's designed to take people who have never run before and take them through a program where they slowly progress over time to running a full 5K, which is 5 kilometers, about 3 and a bit miles. So anyway, besides the point, I first started running when I was in year 10, and I started following this program and I started making really good progress. And the reason I started was because I had all this free time on my hands and I wasn't really spending it wisely. So I thought, you know what, why don't I try do something meaningful? And I was just lacking a purpose at the time. I was lacking a purpose at the time, and I think there's a good quote that sums it up. I think it's called the devil makes good use of idle hands. So essentially what that means is, if you've got loads of free time on your hands and you're not doing anything productive or purposeful with it, you end up just like wasting it away on some bullshit instead of doing something meaningful. Let's say like starting hitting the gym or start working out, do something meaningful and purposeful that's gonna start to change and improve your life. And that's when I first started discovering self-improvement and started getting into the space and stuff. And this is when I first started my running journey. And then from then it's evolved and I made great progress, and then I quit, and then I started again and I quit again, and then I kind of went back and forth in limbo for running for the past few years. And then a couple of months ago, I decided I would commit to it fully. And then I saw it all the way through to the end, and I finally ran my first 5K in around 3.5 months, starting from August and then finishing mid-December. So just to put that clearly, I went from this chubby, brown, unathletic guy to someone who could run 5K. And that wasn't like this upward spiral. This was something that took like years of practice because I was so inconsistent. I first discovered running like a couple of years ago, but I only committed and took it seriously like a couple of years later. So what I want to say is, if you're not happy with the way you look, you've got low self-esteem, low confidence, running can genuinely turn your life around. And it certainly did for me. And I want to lead more into giving you a purpose. So like I already mentioned, like I was a prime time gamer like back a couple of years ago. I think 2020 was the biggest time because all the schools are shut. You got all this free time. I spent most of it on like Fortnite and Warzone a lot and on all that shit. I used to love playing this game mode called Rebirth Island, where we'd have like a mini map and it kind of be like quickfire Warzone, and there's like 40 players on the map, and it's like this, I don't know how you describe it, like a battle royale game, and there's like 40 people and they're all quick fire, quick games. I love playing those games. And anyway, starting running gave me a goal to work towards because I had literally zero experience in this skill. Like by all means, I wasn't very fit or athletic. I remember doing I think a cross-country run somewhere in secondary school. It might have been year 8, year 9, and I couldn't run for more than about 2 or 3 minutes. I completely gassed out, and that's obviously because my cardio was very poor, and also my diet was very poor, and loads of other things probably factored into that. But obviously I didn't exercise regularly, and that's why I struggled doing the cross-country run. And I ended up finishing it, but I was absolutely dying by the end of it because I never regularly did cardiovascular, or I never rarely did cardio. So cardio, I never ever did cardio. So my running was just fucking dog shit, to be brutally honest with you. And that's why I really struggled with it. And when I realized that there's a process you need to go through in order to get better at something, you need to start small and then like gradually get progressively better over time. Like there's a real process to getting better as a runner. You've got to follow a structured plan. I finally found that, and it gave me a goal to work towards, being running 5 kilometers, which is about 3 miles. And once I had a goal to strive towards, I actually found a sense of purpose and motivation because I had all this time on my hands. I had a goal to work towards, and because I had all this time on my hands and I had a goal to work towards, it kept me busy. It kept my mind off things. It kept me off my phone. And I had something to work towards. It got me excited, and I started doing it. First run, completely flopped it. And what happened was, I obviously had no clue about running. I went for this run, ran like full pelt for like 2 minutes, and then I completely fucked my body up for about the next week. And even my mom was like, what did you do? Why are you lying all over the sofa? Like, and that was because I didn't do any warm-ups or any stretches, and I completely messed my body up. I think I might have even pulled a muscle. But that was just me being like adventurous and trying new shit. And once I realized that there's proper ways to go about running, like in terms of warm-ups, in terms of stretching, and the running, stretching, warming up, looking after your body, like there's so much that goes into it. If you're a complete beginner, you probably will have if you're a complete beginner, you may be completely oblivious to these things, but there's so much that goes into it. And as a beginner, obviously I had no information, or I wasn't very clued up on the knowledge that comes with running. So I kind of raw dogged it and kind of figured it out as I went along. And from that, what I want to say is, as a beginner, it's so easy to make progress, not only physical, but mentally as well. And it's so easy to make progress in the sense that if you can't run for a minute, it will only take you maybe 1, 2, 3 runs, and then you'll be able to run a minute without stopping easily. I mean, I feel like that should be like a baseline minimum. You should be able to run a minute, even if you've never run before. And it doesn't have to be quick. You just have to be able to put one foot in front of the other and go and jog. And most people should be able to do that for a minute. And then from that, if you can go from 1 minute to 2 minutes, that's a great improvement. That's 100% more than you've done previously. That's why I say it's so easy to make progress when you're starting out as a newbie. and you're going from someone who's never run before to someone who's a beginner runner. Those newbie gains you make when you first start something new for the first time, those are the most exciting things, because you start to build momentum. Because you go from this person who's never tried this skill before, and then you start putting your time into it and developing and becoming better at it and learning more things about it. And all of a sudden, you go from 1 minute to 2 to 5 to 10 to 20. That the learning curve is very quick as you start learning a new skill. And then from that point, it does get harder, but you get more experienced and stronger. So you continue that journey. You learn about 80% of a new skill in the first few weeks of doing it. After that, it gets progressively harder to master. But the reason I chose running was that it was super accessible. All you needed was a mobile phone and a pair of shoes. That's literally it. You don't need to pay for anything. You don't have to sign up for anything. It's super easy to get into. You just need a fit and able body, a pair of shoes, and a mobile phone. That is literally it. You don't even need a phone. You can run without a phone. I use that to track my stats on my runs, but you can run without a phone. You don't need one. But I like to use it to track my stats and also listen to music as well. But that's besides the point. And what I want to say for this next point is most people don't even set goals. I set a time frame. I'm talking about my own experience here. When I took running seriously, this was in August 2025. This was a couple of years after I discovered running and was on and off it for a few years. But I wanted to get serious about running, and what I did was I said to myself, I'm going to make a commitment. I'm going to start running as of August 25, and by the end of this year, I'm going to run a 5K. And I said that in August 25, and I worked incredibly hard and set myself a deadline. So I started in August 25, and I said by the end of this year, I want to be able to run a 5K. And because I set that time frame, it put the pressure on me to stay consistent and start working towards that goal, because I wanted to look back on myself at the end of the year and say, oh shit, I actually locked in and did that fucking goal I said I was going to do. That's sick. And I ended up doing it, and I'll probably show you some clips in and around that show my journey of what it took me to go from 0 to running a 5K. And because I set that time frame, I was able to achieve it. And you know what? You want to know what the great thing is? People will start to notice if you set a goal for yourself and then start honing in and like locking in on it and start working towards it. And one of the greatest things I found was that people just started seeing me go out on runs, because I go like in and around like my area. People start noticing, especially people start noticing and they start respecting you. If you start working hard and you've got goals and you're driven and ambitious as a young man, people start respecting you for it. And when you go out and achieve shit, people start respecting you. Like, for instance, I started running, taking it seriously and like looking after myself, working on myself. And as a result of that, my dad started respecting me more, because I was working on myself. I was aiming to be a fit and healthier young man. And he started respecting me, and so did my mum, and so did some of my friends. So just to put that into context, when you start working on yourself and improving yourself, people start to root for you, and they kind of start to support you even without you asking them. I think it's like human nature to root for people and side with people who are progressing and getting better at things. And what I want to say is working hard is the gateway to improving your life. And not just running, but in terms of all avenues of life. When you start working out, your life infinitely gets better. Because as you take your health seriously, your health no longer becomes a problem, which means you can start to focus on what really matters. And as a result of me starting running back in year 10, I think my grades definitely got better. And it was easier to focus in class because I was fitter. It improved cognitive function. It helps you lock in, quite literally. And you just got more energy as well, because when you're active, you've got more energy, more testosterone. That's the most popular one with young guys. When you're fitter and healthier, you just generally overall feel better. And I started working out for the first time. And what I want to say is I've never looked back since. There's never been an instance, or I have never met anyone in my life who started working out and has ever deeply regretted it and or immediately quit working out, getting better, hitting the gym or whatever. I've never met a single person who's regretted working out. They've only ever continued doing it and progressively getting better and improving over time. So that's what I wanted to say today about why you should start running as a young man. And I hope you take a bit of value from this video. And just the last point, if you want to join like-minded guys who are on the beginning of their running journey and want to improve themselves and start running, top link in the description, you can join my running program, which is more like a community of young guys coming together and working on themselves to improve and also start getting into running and go from 0 to running a 5K. Thanks for watching.